My dear brothers and sisters across the African continent, I speak today not just as a leader of Burkina Faso, but as a son of Africa, a continent blessed by nature, history, and the undying spirit of its people. I come with respect, with hope, and with an honest plea that we, the custodians of power, re-examine the direction we are taking our nations. This message is addressed to our long-serving heads of state, those who have carried the burden of leadership for decades. The time has come for a sincere reflection on the past, a courageous engagement with the present, and a visionary commitment to the future. Africa's post-colonial journey has been one of both triumph and trauma. After decades of foreign domination, many of our founding fathers took power with a dream that Africans would govern themselves with dignity, equality, and justice. Yet what was meant to be liberation became, in too many cases, extended rule by a few over the many. We cannot forget our liberation heroes, but even they warned us, power should serve the people, not imprison them. Today, more than 60 years after independence for many nations, we must ask, has that power changed hands for the better? Or have our people merely traded one form of control for another? To my respected elder statesmen, many of whom have led their nations for 30, 40, even 45 years, I ask with humility, has your continued presence at the helm helped your people grow? Has it empowered the youth, strengthened institutions, and improved lives? In too many countries, the answer is no. We are not here to disrespect experience. We are not here to dishonor the struggle you endured. But wisdom must accept that the world changes, and with it, leadership must evolve. Some of our long-serving leaders have become disconnected from the very people they once vowed to protect. Surrounded by comfort and shielded from critique, they no longer feel the heat in the markets, the pain in the hospitals, or the cries in the classrooms. It is not enough to boast of stability when that stability feeds the few and starves the many. It is not enough to proclaim peace while silencing voices that differ from yours. Peace without justice is an illusion. Africa is the youngest continent in the world. Over 60% of our population is under 25. They are bold, digital, connected, educated, and ready to serve. But across the continent, doors remain closed to them, not due to a lack of skill, but due to the presence of age systems that refuse to adapt or step aside. In too many African nations, the youth are alienated from politics, economics, and decision-making. They are told to wait their turn, a turn that never comes. The result is a brain drain of catastrophic proportions. Our engineers, doctors, programmers, and creatives flee across the seas not because they hate Africa, but because Africa has refused to accommodate their dreams. A continent that ignores its youth is a continent writing its own obituary. Corruption has become normalized in too many states, not as an exception, but as a rule. And where leadership overstays, corruption often follows. Institutions that should be independent are compromised. Judiciary systems bend to the will of the powerful. Public contracts serve private friends. Elections are orchestrated performances. This is not governance. This is erosion. We cannot speak of patriotism while hiding billions in foreign banks. We cannot claim panafricanism while clinging to neocolonial economic systems. Africa deserves leaders who are not afraid of the people, but who walk among them, accountable and transparent. One of the most dangerous trends in post-independence Africa is the manipulation of constitutions. Term limits, once put in place to prevent authoritarianism, have been discarded or edited to suit the ambitions of a few. Referenda are rigged. Parliaments are pressured. And the people are told that the will of the nation just happens to align with the will of the president. This is not progress. This is political engineering that erodes legitimacy and sows the seeds of unrest. Where leaders refuse to leave power, coups, revolts, and revolutions often follow. And while we may condemn such upheavals, they are often born of desperation. Let us not confuse silence with satisfaction. A nation may be quiet, but that silence may be the hush of repression, not peace. To those who have led for decades, I ask, what legacy do you seek? Will it be the legacy of development, of justice, of education, of African dignity? Or will it be the legacy of tightened fists, broken promises, and an unending rule? It is never too late to walk the path of honor. Some leaders have made the bold choice to step aside, to become elder statesmen, guiding the continent through wisdom rather than power. They are remembered with affection and respect. But those who refuse to listen to time often find themselves remembered with regret. Power is not eternal, but dignity can be. This continent belongs to all of us, elders, youth, men, women, citizens, and leaders. We must not repeat the mistakes of the past century. Africa must rise on the back of integrity, inclusivity, and innovation. We must build institutions stronger than individuals. We must embrace meritocracy over nepotism. We must open doors for young people, not only to vote but to lead. We must reform constitutions not to favor incumbents, but to protect democracy. We must invest in health, education, food security, and Pan-African trade, not weapons, palaces, or foreign praise. The future is not a threat. It is a promise. And the youth are not enemies of tradition, they are the authors of tomorrow. My message is clear: Africa is rising, and it cannot be anchored to yesterday's politics. Leadership must be a relay, not a throne. We must run our leg of the race and pass the baton with honor. Let us choose humility over hubris, service over self-preservation, and legacy over longevity. The youth are not asking for handouts. They are asking for space, to think, to create, to govern. Let us give them that space. Let us show the world that Africa can evolve with grace, maturity, and courage. The time is now. The people are watching. History is recording. Africa's tomorrow cannot be shaped by yesterday's mindset. The youth must not be kept waiting forever. Africa's greatest strength today is not oil, gold, or land, it is its youth. Over 60% of Africans are under 25, and yet they remain the most sidelined in politics, leadership, and development. They are not asking for favors. They are demanding space, to lead, to work, and to shape their future. They speak the language of technology and creativity. We must stop treating them as threats and start treating them as partners. From #EndSARS in Nigeria to student protests in South Africa and youth-led reforms in Senegal, young people are demanding change. Not because they are rebellious, but because they are tired of being excluded. Too often, they are met with force instead of dialogue. But youth energy must be guided, not silenced. A nation that fears its youth is a nation afraid of its future. Across the continent, the youth are creating tech startups, content platforms, fintech systems, and modern agriculture methods. They are building a new Africa from the ground up. But too often, they face internet shutdowns during elections, taxation that stifles creativity, outdated education that ignores digital skills. Governments must invest in digital infrastructure, protect online freedoms, and support youth tech hubs, not shut them down in fear. Africa's youth want to work. But job creation isn't matching population growth. Degrees do not equal employment. Many dream of leaving the continent, not from hate, but from hopelessness. The solution: fund youth-led businesses, support skills training, create fair access to land and credit, break down barriers to entry for young professionals. A future where youth only survive through struggle is not sustainable. A youth without education is like a continent without light. Yet we continue to underinvest in our future. Too many schools lack teachers, books, and safe spaces. Education must be modern, practical, and widely accessible. Our schools must teach not just to pass exams, but to solve problems, build nations, and lead. Let us invest in classrooms, not palaces. In libraries, not luxury cars. The real wealth of a nation is its enlightened citizens. To my elder counterparts, this is not a war between generations. This is a call for partnership. The youth do not seek to erase your legacy. They want to build on it. But that can only happen if you make room for them in cabinets, parliaments, and political parties. True leadership is measured by how well you prepare your successor, not how long you hold the seat. Africa is changing: climate, economy, ideas, and global alliances. We cannot keep using the same old methods to solve new challenges. If we do not open the door for the youth, they will break it down. And when that happens, we risk chaos where we could have had peaceful transformation. Let us act now, willingly, wisely, and with dignity. Africa's youth are not asking for charity. They are asking for vision, for voice, and for value. Let this be the generation where we shifted course, where we said no to endless rule, and yes to endless possibilities. We owe it to those who came before us. We owe it to those who will come after. Africa must rise, not as a collection of competing regimes, but as a united people with shared destiny and purpose. Though the colonial chains were broken decades ago, Africa still fights new forms of controlled economic dependency, foreign military bases, rigged partnerships, and policies made in Washington or Paris rather than Lagos or Ouagadougou. We welcome cooperation, but not domination. We need allies, not masters. True independence means controlling our resources, setting our economic agenda, defining our political future without external interference. Yet many long-serving leaders remain more loyal to foreign capitals than to their own citizens. That must end. From Nkrumah to Sankara, our forebears envisioned a united Africa. But today, we still see borders that divide tribes and trade routes, visa restrictions between neighbors, conflicts fanned by arms dealers who profit from our pain. If we must rise together. Let US strengthen ECOWAS, SADC, EAC, and AU with real powers, not symbolic titles. Remove trade barriers within the continent. Create a Continental Youth Development Pact. Stand against coups and long-term sit-tight rulers with equal urgency. Unity is our insurance policy against global irrelevance. Many African leaders justify their long stay in power by pointing to security. But security does not mean silencing dissent. Real security comes from justice, fairness, and trust in institutions. If people trust their courts, elections, and parliaments, they will not pick up arms. They will pick up ballots. Let us fix what causes insecurity: corruption, unequal wealth, political exclusion, broken promises. And let's reform our security institutions to serve the people, not regimes. Africa faces the harshest impact of climate change, droughts in the Sahel, floods in Mozambique, and shrinking Lake Chad. Yet we contribute the least to global emissions. Our youth are organizing for climate justice, but leadership often turns a blind eye. We must invest in clean energy, protect forest and water bodies, involve youth in environmental policy, demand fair climate finance from the global north. Ignoring the environment today is destroying the continent our youth will inherit. To my fellow leaders, Africa's chair of leadership is not a throne. It is a seat of service. Too many of us have confused power with property. But the office is borrowed. The people can, and should, take it back if it no longer serves them. Staying too long weakens institutions. It turns once celebrated freedom fighters into feared authoritarians. It erodes legacy and breeds bitterness. To lead is noble. To know when to step aside is even nobler. Legacy is not measured in buildings named after you, or years in office. It is measured in how your people live, how the youth thrive, and how your nation stands when you're no longer in power. If you want to be remembered, build systems, not just statues. Build minds, not only monuments. Young Africans, do not wait for permission to lead. Build, educate, organize, dream. And when the time comes, take the baton, not with violence, but with vision. Your voice matters. Your ideas count. And your time is now. To the youth in the villages, slums, campuses, and online, Africa sees you. The world sees you. And history is calling. This is our turning point. Africa must not be known for leaders who overstay, but for those who outperform. We must become a continent where the youth are leaders, not liabilities. Power rotates peacefully. Prosperity is shared. Pride is restored. I speak not as one with all the answers, but as one committed to the cause. I urge all long-serving African leaders, let the sun set on your era with dignity, and rise on a new generation with hope. Let us build that Africa, together.